Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta, Nisha Nishavatarakam, Tat Prakasham Tatat Shakti, Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam, Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Sahoditav, Gaurade Pushpavanatav, Chitrav Sandau, Tamo Nudau, Grantira Arambha Kori, Mangala Charana, Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinirasmarana Hoya Vighna Vinashana Anayasa Sapala Nija Vanchita Purana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. We have great souls at one place today. Thank you. So we are reading Sri Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta, Adi-lila, chapter 3, the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. We read till text number 62 in our last session. And we were talking about Bahuduli, Hari Boli, Preme Drishti Chai, Krishna Kalmasha Nasha, Premita Bhashai. In short, when we raise our arms to chant the holy names, it drives away all the impurities, Kalmasha, and gives us love of Godhead. So we should very enthusiastically do so while chanting, dancing, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So let's read the next verse, text number 63. Smitaloka shokam harati jagatam yasya parito giram tu prarambha kushala patalim palyavati palavyati padalambahakam va pranayati nahi prema nivaham sadevas chaitanya kritir atitiram na kripyatu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a Lord Chaitanya bestow His causeless mercy upon us. His smiling glance at once drives away all the bereavements of the world, and His very words enliven the auspicious creepers of devotion by expanding their leaves. Taking shelter of His lotus feet invokes transcendental love of God at once. Purport: This verse is Dvitiya Sri Chaitanyastaka 8 from the Stava-mala of Srila Rupa Goswami. Hare Krishna. So, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quoting multiple verses from multiple wonderful scriptures. So this is from Stava-mala. Stava means prayers. Mala means garland. A garland of prayers. Isn't that a wonderful garland to wear? A garland of prayers. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says we should wear this garland of this verse, Trinadapi Sunichina Tarori Vasahishnana Amani Namanadina Kirtanya Sadahari. One who wears this garland of humility is the best garland to wear. Much better than the pearls and the diamonds and the gold of this world. So His smiling glance at once drive away all the bereavements. We can meditate upon the Lord's smiling glance, the Lord's darshan. Therefore, some devotees really like to meditate upon the deities. It's actually a devotion, an act of devotion, just to be physically present in front of the deities. It's very, very auspicious, very, very purifying, because the Lord's glance is not an ordinary glance. It will drive away all the bereavement. And his words, what are his words? He's always having Kṛṣṇa Varna. We discussed that. His all words are full of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So taking shelter of his words, his lotus feet, and will give transcendental love of God at once. So this is the power of Lord's glance, Lord's words, Lord's lotus feet, or in anything in connection to Lord. Lord's Mahaprasad, the Nirmalya, the deity garland, anything in association with the Lord is utmost purifying, removes all bereavement, and gives the love of Godhead. That's what is shared in this verse, text number 63. Any other thoughts, comments anyone has? Okay. So let's read the next one, which is 64. Yes, dear Prabhu, Honorable Prabhu, you want to read?
Hare Devotee, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sri Anga, Sri Mukho, ei kore darshan, tar pap khoy hoy, pai premodhan. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki joy. Anyone who looks upon his beautiful body or beautiful face becomes freed from all sins and obtains the wealth of love of Godhead. So definitely looking at the Lord's beautiful form, it will take us away from the material attractions, and that way we'll be able to free from all the sins, because we will not be attached to the material activities and sinful activities, and ultimately develop the Godhead, love to Godhead. Back to Puji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Quite similar to the previous verse. So while taking darshan of the deities, devotees, we can try to remember this verse. Sri Anga, Sri Mukha. His body, Anga means body, Mukha means face. Ye kare darshan. Anyone, even a Chandala, even the lowest of the species, whoever takes darshan, Papa Shaya, Tara Papa Shaya. The Pap is destroyed, and what is one thing goes away and one thing enters. Paya Premadhan. He attains Premadhan. So when we are taking darshan of the deities, we can also meditate. O Lord, please remove all our sinful activities, lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion, etc., etc. And please give us the topmost prema dhana. It's a good way to meditate on the Lord. Of course, that should be, this is a desire that should be followed after we glorify the Lord. Because we have discussed time and again, it's not that when we take darshan of the Lord, the first thing we ask is what we want. Okay, yes, we want this spiritual desires to get away from material desires, but the first thing should be glorification of the Lord, about his beauty, about his form. Namo Pankajanaಭaya, Namo Pankajamaline. So verses like those which glorify the Lord. This is a verse which is glorifying the Lord, but there is a desire or kind of telling the glories of the Lord's darshan. So both are important. Yes, Moksha Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna, all devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Text 65. अन्य अवतारे सब सन्य शास्त्र संगे चैतन्य कृष्णेर सन्य anga upange. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In other incarnations, the Lord descend with armies and weapons, but in this incarnation, His soldiers are His plenary parts and associates. So here, as it is said by Lord Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that He comes for the protection and the upliftment of the sadhus and for the annihilation of the demons. So he's always there with a plan which involves weapons and fighting. But in this merciful incarnation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he comes without any such plan, and his only weapon is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and only soldiers are the preachers of the holy name. So, and this is also indirectly an indication that uh, except everything else, the holy name is the topmost. Hare Krishna, only devotees. Tanvat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Very nice verse and nice comments. We just celebrated the Narasingh Chaturdashi. So over there also he came with this sharp thunderbolt-like teeth and thunderbolt-like nails. One of the names of the 108 names is Adbhut Nakha or Vajra Nakha, Vajra Damshtra, which means his nails are and teeth are like thunderbolt. And he used those to rip apart the stone-like chest of Hiranyakashipu. But in this incarnation, he didn't use his sharp nails or any other sword, bow and arrow, whatever. He used Premadhana, the holy name, his associates, what is real weapons and soldiers. Okay, let's read next 166. Yes, Baswati Mataji, you want to read?
Prabhupada, text 66. Shadopasya Śrīman Dhrita Manuja Kavai Pranayitang Bahadvirgi Varnoish Girish Parameshti Praviti Savakteva Shuddham Nijabhajan Mudramupadishan Sa Chaitanya King me Punarapi Drishor Jashati Padam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always the most worshipable deity of the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, who came in the garb of ordinary men. Bearing love for him, he instructs his own pure devotional service to his own devotees. Will he again be the object of my vision? Purport. This verse is Prathama Sri Chaitanyastaka 1 from the Stava-mala of Srila Rupa Goswami. So here, Srila Rupa Goswami in his Stava-mala from Prathama Sri Chaitanyastaka is reciting this verse. This is glorifying Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So back to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It reminds me of one of the prayers for Lord Jagannath also. We say Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu Me. Yeah, quite similar meaning there. O Lord Jagannath, please be the object of my vision. So Srila Rupa Goswami is also praying, O Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the one who is worshipped by Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Shiva, etc. Please, you become the object of my vision. What does that really mean? That means, please instruct me in your pure devotional service and to his own devotees, to service to him and to his devotees. Service to Kṛṣṇa means service to Krishna's devotees. So that really means that how much are we making the object of our vision as the Supreme Lord and the devotional path. Rupa Goswami is sincerely praying that, oh my Lord, please become the object of my vision. Here it's more like a question mark, because some prayers are in the form of Lalasamai Prathana. Lalach in English is, in Hindi it means desire or kind of lust. But spiritual lust is love. So he's asking for spiritual desire. Lalasamai Prathana. To have a lot of spiritual desires is very good. When will that day come? When will the Lord become the object of my vision? When will I be able to serve the devotees in the pure way? Sa Chaitanya kim me punarapi drishyo yasyati padam. Will that day come? Will I be able to serve the Lord in a pure way? So a devotee never feels that, yeah, I'm doing that. The Lord is always the object of my vision. Right? A devotee is always begging for that to happen. A devotee is humbly asking the Lord, O Lord Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu me. May you please be the object of my vision. O Lord Chaitanya, may you please be the object of my vision. This is the mood of devotee. Not that, no, I'm already a pure soul. Lord is always doing. So, let's see the next one. Yes, Umesh Prabhuji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Text number 67. Ango panga asra kare swakariya sadhana anga shabdera artha arasuna tiya mana. Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His plenary parts and associates perform the work of weapons as their own specific duties. Please hear from me another meaning of the word anga. So Krishna Raj Kaviraj Das is going to again explain in more details, like further verses regarding to the anga, his parts, and the associates. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So as we have discussed, this whole thing is basically the explanation of that verse. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopanga Parshadam Yagge Sankirtana Prayet Ijanti Sumedasa. Text number 50 to 83 on Krishna Kaviraj Goswami is just elaborating on this. So first we talk about Krishna Varna, then we talk about the Tvisha Akrishna. Now from text number 60 to 76 we are talking about Sangopangastra Parshadam. Is Sanga, Anga, Upanga, and Parshada. And Astra also, we talk about the Astra. So the Astras were his parts and associates perform the works of the weapons or Astra. So this whole discussion is there till text 76. Let's see what are the more detail Anga and Upanga discussed. Text 68 onwards. Yes, Dear Prabhu, you want to read this one?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, then Pranam, after Sri Prabhupada. Anga sapte amsakaha sastra paramana angera avyava upanga vyakhyana. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. According to the evidence of the revealed scriptures, a bodily limb, anga, is also called a part, amsa, and a part of a limb is called a partial part, upanga. So Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada here clearly explaining how, when we call plenary portion, the parts, of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the same way here in the scriptures, a bodily part, anga, is also called as amsha. So in a way we are all part and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the part of the limb is also called the partial part. Upanga, it is also. Please explain. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So basically, sometimes we have this in like divisions of certain things. Okay, divisions of in anything, like divisions of, let's say, different types of materials. Okay, so we'll classify, okay, metals and non-metals. But in metals, maybe there are subdivisions or upanga, partial divisions. It's something like that. So there are angas or amshas, and there are subdivisions of that. The part of the limb, and ultimately whether this is the anga or upanga. Ete chamsa kalapamsam Kṛṣṇastu Bhagavan Swayam. This kala or parts, subparts, the original candle is that Supreme Lord. We've discussed the example of candle as well. One candle ignites the other candle, but there is an original candle. Kṛṣṇastu Bhagavan Swayam. Ramadi Murti Shukalani Amen Tishtan Nana Avtaram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Kṛṣṇa Swayam Sambhavat Paramah Puramanyo Govindamadi Purusham. So many verses in Brahma Samhita talk about this point that Sri Kṛṣṇa is the Adi Purusha, is the original personality. And all these parts, anga and upanga, partial parts or sub parts, we can say, are expansions of him only. So let's see what else is there in text 69. Raghu Prabhu, you want to read?
Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna devotees, text 69. Narayana-tvam nahi sarvadehina atmasi adishakila loka saksi Narayano nagam narabhuj jalayana tachapi satyam na taivat tavaiva maya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. O Lord of Lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not, therefore, my father, Narayana? Narayana refers to one whose abode is in the water born from Nara, Garbhodhakasayi Vishnu, and that Narayana is your plenary portion. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and not creations of Maya. This text was spoken to Lord Kṛṣṇa by Brahma in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10:14-14. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So here, Brahmaji is praying in Canto 10, Chapter 14. We have discussed this. This is for the Brahma Vimohan Lila, Brahmaji prayers. And the famous verse also, Tattenukampa Susumikshamana, which is also spoken multiple times by Srila Prabhupada, is also in this chapter. This is the interesting chapter actually, because this is the chapter where, kind of in the middle, Srila Prabhupada left his earthly pastimes. Canto 10, Chapter 14 is that chapter. While translating to his deathbed or his final days. There's no death kind of or there's no like death for the body is anyways there, because that's a fundamental, whether one is devotee or atheist. But there's no death for a devotee in the sense, because the devotee, that pure soul, goes to a back home, back to Godhead, or a higher destination based on the Lord's plan for him or her. So 10.14 is that. In short, here, Narayana is also the anga of Kṛṣṇa. Narayana, as we have discussed the multiple times, that again, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, all the parts, subparts, anga, upanga, kala, pumsa, so many different incarnations we have discussed, and Purusha Avatar, and Lila Avatar, Manvantara Avatar, Guna Avatar, and Dasha Avatar, and Prakashas, and Vaibhava. So many we have discussed in the Canto 1, Chapter 1. They are not creations of Maya. Very important. Now in the Bhagavatam we are reading about Matsya Avatar, which we are going to read after this verse. They are not creations of Maya. It's not that it is an ordinary fish going in the ordinary cycle of birth and death and swinging because of the past karma, that jiva is born as a fish. Prabhupada says if someone just likes to spend hours and hours in just water, think about that. If someone is spending hours and hours every day in the water, what will the Lord say? Well, I gave you this human form of life. The goal of this human form of life is not to spend hours and hours in the water every day. But if you have that desire, I will give you a fish body. Right? God is very merciful. And that jiva would have been, or would be, under the creation of Maya because of the past karma. But the Lord, when the Lord comes in as a fish incarnation, it's not by any material arrangement. It's by a divine spiritual arrangement. That's the difference between the ordinary jiva as a fish and the Matsya Avatar. Any other comments before we read about Matsya Avatar?